Imagine for a second you had the money to buy yourself one of those. The £2 million Pininfarina Battista, the Rimac Nevera based, Italian designed, pure electric hypercar. What would that be like? Well, today we're going to engage our imaginations and find out. I'm dressed how I imagine a rich person might dress. This is my house for the next 20 minutes at least, and we're going to drive the Battista on road and on track. Come on, let's go. Oh, forgot my phone. Okay, a quick lesson in how to start up the Pininfarina Battista. The first thing you do is jab this dial here. That fires up the whole system. This screen over here gives you information on what you get in the various modes, how much power it gives you. If you also go into the settings here, this is how you adjust your steering wheel. It's also how you adjust your seat. And this screen over here, this gives you your audio settings, your sat nav, but most importantly on a day like this, your aircon. And that's about it. Spin this dial to D, and we're off. So, we're in Miami, playground of the rich and famous. That house back there, by the way, on sale, with one Sotheby's for $7 million if you fancy it. But who cares about bricks and mortar when you got 1900 horsepower to play with? And actually, let's start there with the numbers. Let's get them out the way early doors because they're unavoidably impressive. I have at my disposal 1900 horsepower, 4 electric motors, one for each wheel, and a T-shaped 120 kilowatt hour battery running behind the seats and down the spine of the car. 0 to 60 miles an hour takes sub 2 seconds, 0 to 186 miles an hour takes less than 12. And total range is around 300 miles if I drive like a retiree. It can also charge from 0 to 80% in 40 minutes if we can find a point that's powerful enough. Charging, if you buy a Battista, won't cost a thing, by the way. You're given a card that lets you access any public charging point for free. Nice touch. You should recoup your 2 million in, several thousand years. So it's fast. Premier League fast, but quarter miles and lap times, yeah, they're not really the Battista's main concern. The car that it shares its carbon tub, its electrical architecture, its powertrain with the Rimac Nevera, now that is the tech geek's wet dream. This is supposed to be more about old school luxury, an outrageous surplus of performance, sure, but a classically beautiful design, the world's finest materials and endless customization options that Pininfarina claims means no two of the 150 car run will ever be the same. It might be electric, but the Battista still makes noise, pumping it out through 2 external speakers and the internal 12-speaker sound system. And get this, the sound increases in increments of 54 hertz because that's a multiple of 432 hertz, which is considered to be the purest sound in the universe. Utter marketing crap or actual value to the customer? You decide. Okay, so let's flip it into Furiosa mode for maximum noise. And it sounds good, it sounds interesting. It's like the car's breathing or throbbing. It's, if nothing else, a good conversation starter down the polo club later on. And the news from downtown Miami is this car is ridiculously easy to drive. If I were in something like, say, I don't know, a Carrera GT, a McLaren F1, they would have many finely honed mechanical components that I'd need to be managing in stop-start traffic like this. But not this. It's smooth and comfortable and quiet, especially if I dial it down to one of the lesser modes there. You can even drive this thing with one pedal without touching the brake and just using the regen to slow down in a hypercar. It is a wonderful way to travel, but a bit of a battle of willpower not to gun it at every opportunity because the performance is ever present. It looms like a devil on your shoulder. See what I mean? So, we've sampled the mansion, the low-speed manners and public roads. What this billionaire needs now, though, is exclusive use of a track. You know, to put my purchase through its paces. First though, quick charge and a coffee at somewhere called The Collection. Basically a massive dealership and supercar owners' paradise. Right, that's better, isn't it? That is what money buys you, an entire racetrack just to yourself. Go on then, let's just slow down to a stop here and see what all the fuss is about. 1900 horsepower. Let's get heads around this acceleration, shall we? Just stand on the front. Whoa! Whoa! Oh man! Woo! All the blood just went to the back of my body. That's ridiculous. That makes a Taycan look like a gee whiz. It is absolutely outrageous that a car that weighs over 2 tons, that doesn't have any marketing around it saying it's supposed to be good on track. It's supposed to be the more laid-back sibling to the Rimac Nevera, and yet it can do this on a track. You know that old adage, slow in, fast out? Nah mate, with the Battista, fast in, fast out. Now earlier it rained, quite a lot in fact. The track was completely soaking. We came out for a drive, and that's when you felt the weight of this thing, because there was a lot of momentum in all the corners. It was sliding about everywhere, but we've been patient. We've let the track dry out, and now you can feel what this car is all about, because it just grips, whoo, and absolutely rips. The steering is wonderfully hyperactive in that familiar Italian way, and the brakes, whoa, they're absolutely monstrous considering the amount of weight they got to haul off. Okay, so we're in the brilliantly named Furiosa mode. Now that gives you the full 1900 horsepower, means the torque vectoring is enabled. There are other modes available, Pura, Karma, Energica, and other Italian words that I can't really pronounce. But this is the one that matters, because that torque vectoring just makes such a big difference. Honestly, you can feel it shuffling all that power around, and it makes the car feel about 500 kilograms lighter. Now, the only thing that I can compare this experience to is driving the prototype of the Lotus Evija, but that was a completely passive car. There were literally no electronics switched on, no ABS, no traction control, definitely no torque vectoring. This has all the electronic trickery on your side, and it really does make all the difference. It's supposed to be a hyper GT, this thing, a GT. You shouldn't be able to do this. Now, clearly I've got one eye on not bringing my billionaire fantasy to a slightly crashy end, so I'm just going to dial it back for this section and gather my thoughts. And the best way I can describe this car is that, yes, it has nearly 2,000 horsepower, and that sounds extremely intimidating on paper, doesn't it? And it is quite intimidating, if I'm honest, because in a straight line, the acceleration's unlike anything I've ever felt. We did a launch earlier and it spun up its wheels in a straight line with the traction control on. You're constantly slightly wary that you have a power station's worth of grunt under your right foot, but in the right conditions, in the dry, when it's got a chance to really grip into that road, that's when this thing's astonishing. The computer, the technology that goes into making this chassis, the batteries, the motors, everything work together. It's just an amazing engineering achievement that's wrapped in this beautiful, beautiful body. Now, I don't suspect many Battista owners are going to be queuing up to take their car to their local track day, but I tell you what, if they do, they're in for a bit of a surprise, because this thing has surprised me around every single corner today. It's not supposed to be this good, a car that's this fast, this powerful, this intimidating, and this heavy. But go on, do the right thing. Use your car properly. You'll have my respect forever. Clearly, owning a pure electric hypercar has certain limitations. Lack of noise, limited range, not being able to bang up and down the gearbox, to name just a few. But the thing is, at this end of the market, it's all about conjuring up an experience that lodges in your brain. And I'm telling you, it is impossible to drive this car without being mesmerized. Besides, if you got one of these on order, you've probably already got an Aston Martin Valkyrie on order, probably a Gordon Murray T50, maybe even a Koenigsegg Jesko. And if that is you, may I urge you to add one of these to the collection, because what it offers is not only brain melting, it's also completely unique. Anyway, mustache, reservations at Nobu.